The Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S have been out for about 2 months now, and I was actually able to get my hands on the Series S, which, believe it or not, was my first choice between the two Xbox consoles. Why did I choose the S over the X? Am I happy with my choice 2 months later? Well, let's get right into the video then and see if we can answer the question, is it worth it? Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Super Gaming Minute, the channel dedicated to all things gaming. A few weeks back, I released a video called 5 Games That I'm Playing, and highlighted the fact that I recently picked up an Xbox Series S and was doing a deep dive into all that the console offered, and also going through the vast library that is included in the Xbox Game Pass. I mentioned in that video that I wanted to take the time to review the Xbox Series S and to give you my reasons why I purchased that console over the Series X, and if I regret my purchase. If you haven't watched that video that I mentioned, I'll leave a link to it at the top right corner here. Give it a watch, it needs some love. And while you're checking things out over at the Super Gaming Minute YouTube page, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We release a new video at least once every Monday, and the only way to be on top of all of our content is to subscribe. But enough with the pitch, let's get right into things. The design between the Series S and the Series X are black and white. See what I did there? Now obviously the Xbox Series S is smaller than the Series X. I mean, that's evident just by looking at the two consoles. But I didn't realize just how much smaller it is until I actually held the console in my hands. The thing is absolutely tiny. I set it on top of my Xbox One VCR edition, and it's absolutely insane how they could fit all of that tech inside such a small box. It blows my mind. Now, being able to fit all of that tech into such a small package is very impressive. But let's talk about what's really important here. The console fits beautifully in my TV console with room to spare. Like a lot of room to spare. When holding the console itself, you can really tell that Xbox put a lot of time and effort in making this console. The quality of build is top notch, and they even put a nice little message on each console. Aw, so sweet. The large black air vent on the front of the console really helps the console pop and gives it a more unique look, which gets compared very often to a speaker. I had a friend who told me that it looked like a hot plate, although I think he was just trying to be a jerk. Stupid PlayStation fanboys. Just kidding guys, PlayStation is dope. I kind of thought it resembled more of a turntable myself. On the front of the console, you'll find the power button, one USB 3.2 port, and the controller sync button. On the back side of the console, you'll see the HDMI port, 2 additional USB ports, storage expansion slot, and the Ethernet port. What's missing on the Series X and S are the optical audio and the TV pass-through that the Xbox One was famous for. It's the same thing, the end. Nah, just kidding. The controller, although resembling the Xbox One controller by design, does feel a lot different. I have my Xbox One plugged in my bedroom and I use it every night. After I've been playing on my Xbox Series S for a while and then switching up to my Xbox One controller, you can definitely feel a huge difference. From the textured grips to the brand new D-pad, they even shorten the length of the base of the controller to fit in the hands of more gamers, and you can definitely feel the difference. It also feels a lot lighter to me. Whether or not that's actually true or not, I don't really know. Now, does it feel like a next-gen controller? Well, no, not really, especially if you compare it to PlayStation's DualSense controller. But it feels familiar and comfortable, and is my favorite controller to date, and I must say I appreciate the Robot White a little more so than the Carbon Black. Now when it comes to the specs versus the Series X, there is an obvious downgrade here. The Series S comes packed with 4 teraflops, which is actually less than the Xbox One X, a last generation console that sports a beefy 6 teraflops. And of course the Series X wouldn't be the most powerful console unless it was packed in some serious power, coming in at 12 teraflops. That being said, the Series S is no slouch, having almost an identical CPU as the Series X, and capable of 1440p versus 4K. but is capable of upscaling to 4K. The Series S also supports ray tracing, rate shading, and variable refresh rate, just like its bigger brother, which is more than enough for what I'm looking for. 1440p is still a crisp looking resolution, and let's be real, I'm a Nintendo fan. I'm still enjoying 1080p. I'm a simple man, okay? As for storage, this is where people seem to have the biggest issue with the console, and for, good reason. In order to bring the price down on the console, Microsoft fitted the Series S with a smaller 512GB SSD, and after the operating system is installed, you're left with a minuscule 346GB, which, let's be real, is a real issue, and you really need to be clear about your priorities with this console. I myself don't have a problem installing a game or two at a time and then deleting and re-downloading a new game later on. Now, as of writing this has been fine, and I'm aware that once more console and generation exclusives come out, the games are going to get even bigger. I mean, we've already got games that take up over 100 gigabytes at a time, which takes up about a third of your internal storage. Luckily, you are able to store your Xbox One and other generation of Xbox games on your external hard drives if you have purchased one in the past. Unfortunately, games optimized for the Series X or S have to be put on the SSD. Now, the storage is upgradable with the Seagate memory expansion, but buying that puts the console to the same price as the Xbox Series X. And let's face it, at that point, it just makes sense to pick up the Series X. In most cases, anyway. But that's not to say that the price of these memory expansions won't come down in price, or that there won't be a less expensive alternative on the market later on down the road. But as of right now, the Seagate is all we have and is something that people need to keep in mind when looking at the Series S versus the X. Now, this is where things for the Xbox gets a little unclear with the majority of the gaming population. Now, it's no secret that the library for the Xbox One was very slim. Like, very, very slim. And as an Xbox fan, this hurts. Seeing all my friends with PS4 getting all these incredible first-party exclusives and feeling as though Microsoft had forgotten about us. And now that the Xbox series of consoles has arrived and we're all like, what the Microsoft? Not a single first-party exclusive for the console. But is that going to be the case in the future? Microsoft is buying up studios left, right, and center. I mean, they just purchased Bethesda for an asinine amount of cash. They have to be planning something huge, right? Xbox is hinting at some pretty big things, and they have given us a little bit of insight as what they're planning. Let's take a step back for a second and go over what we know right up to this point. Yes, the library as of writing this is slim, but what about the future? What do we know thus far? Well, for starters, here's all the Xbox exclusives coming in the future. Halo Infinite, Fable, State of Decay 3, a new Forza game, Everwild, Avowed, At Dusk Falls, Stalker 2, The Medium, Hellblade 2, Scorn, Perfect Dark, and Back 4 Blood, the new Left 4 Dead title. That's all the titles that I know about. There could be some that I missed. What about upcoming Bethesda titles? Right now there's no confirmation on if those titles will be exclusive to the Xbox or not, but they must be planning something big with these franchises, right? So as I mentioned, I specifically purchased the Series S over the X, and the reason for this is because the S was the perfect console for me. Now, I love video games. I love the stories, the visuals, and just the overall experiences that it gives me. I feel a lot of joy when I play a new game for the first time. I absolutely love it. Now, if this were my main console, I most definitely would have purchased the Series X, but it's not my main console. I am first and foremost a Nintendo gamer. My Switch goes everywhere with me. I love collecting the cartridges, the memorabilia, and I love making Nintendo YouTube videos. But I also love to play next-gen Xbox games, but don't necessarily care to collect disc-based games. And for that reason, the discless drive on the Series S is fine for me. Now, a lot of people would say that getting a discless digital-only console is more expensive in the long run since I can't purchase used games. And this is absolutely true. I usually make sure that there isn't a used copy of whatever game I'm looking to purchase before shelling out full price for a brand new one. But with Microsoft promising to put every single Xbox exclusive game up on Game Pass, as well as their revolving library of games, I won't have to pay for a single game on that platform, minus maybe a couple of titles that come out that I really want to play. As for the storage capacity, I'll be honest, this is a bit of an issue sometimes. But I've had the Series S for 2 months now and have been deleting games after playing them and re-downloading new games before I go to bed and while I'm at work using the Xbox Game Pass app. And it's been working for me well. 1440p versus 4K? Let's be real. This is an upgrade for me all its own. I play the Nintendo Switch and it's 1080p. This doesn't bother me at all. The resolution doesn't depict a good or bad game. And that's it, guys. That is my quick review of the Xbox Series S and the reasons for why I picked this console over the Series X. I hope you liked this video. If you did, smash that like button. Hell, even if you didn't like it, smash it anyways, because, I mean, these videos take a lot of time and a lot of work, and, I mean, you probably won't like all of them. I mean, even though you should, because, I mean, why wouldn't you? So, thanks. Also, don't forget to subscribe to SGM if you guys like talking all things video games. We have a 2021 goal of releasing at least 1 video per week and working towards 2 per week. So the only way to stay up to date on all of our newest content is to subscribe. And while you're looking at the SGM YouTube page, why not check out some of the other videos that we released? Anyway, guys, what do you think of the Series S versus the Series X? Did you pick one up, or are you more of a PlayStation gamer? Comment down below. With that being said, thank you guys so very, very, very much for watching the videos. I truly can't thank you all enough. I love you all, and as always, keep on gaming.